Alright, enough about 28 days later. Where the fuck is 28 months later? Come on! So 28 Days Later tells the story of a rage virus that breaks out and transforms the world into a desolate wasteland when a small group of survivors try to salvage a future. What's up, guys, and welcome to another patron-sponsored review. This one is for one of my patrons, Greg Buzz. He chose 28 Days Later, which is an awesome choice because this is not only one of my favorite franchises as far as the zombie genre, which is a genre that I'm not honestly that big on, but it's a very cool movie to talk about because when 28 Days Later came out, it was somewhat of a groundbreaking film, and we will get into why. So 28 Days Later, in a lot of ways, kind of gave a gigantic kick in the teeth to the zombie genre. It was kind of a genre that was stalemated for a while around the time that this came out in the early 2000s. This movie comes out and breathes new life and gives so many different filmmakers new directions to go and kind of shaped the genre for what was to come from then even to today in 2018. Starting right off with the positives for 28 Days Later, I already could see the comments coming about, this is not a zombie film, they're not zombies. Whatever. Aesthetically, they're zombies, so let's move on from that. And the zombies in this movie are my type of zombies. I'm somebody that I'm not really scared or intimidated or anything by the slow, classic, George Romero zombies where it's more the numbers than the actual threat. When you get into movies like 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later, the Dawn of the Dead remake where zombies are fucking hauling ass at you like they are going to rip you to shreds, that is scary to me. That makes the zombies way more of a threat than they ever were in some of the classic movies that people love, and all power to you, but I prefer this type of zombie film. The next biggest positive that I'll give for 28 Days Later, which is really the main positive of the movie, is the characters. This is a zombie film that is all about the characters, the character interactions, the dynamic of this little survivor group. You get all these people from, the guy Jim that just wakes up in this desolate wasteland, almost like Rick in Walking Dead, and has no idea what the fuck happened and has to pick up quick what is going on and how to survive it, all the way to the father and the daughter where there's so much tragedy in their relationship. Some shit happens that will possibly bring you to tears. And it's just a very gritty, grounded way to look at not only a zombie film, but just like a wasteland, post-apocalyptic genre type film. It goes for some deep character stuff, and there's a lot of good interaction, there's a lot of love between these characters, there's a lot of friction initially that it's very believable, and throughout all the story of this movie, you are hinged on it because of these characters. I also like how the movie actually was one of the first movies to kind of go for this thing that, at least that I've seen. There's probably some classics that I haven't mentioned, but one of the first movies in this genre that I have seen that kind of goes after the theme of, even though you're in this desolate wasteland, it's the humanity that is left over that is almost the bigger monster than the monsters lurking around in the wasteland. So I like how they kind of go for that. The way that this movie goes in the third act, whenever they find this little, barricaded soldier village, basically, where they've got like traps and everything to keep the zombies out, and they're trying to kind of rebuild humanity in this little castle or this little stronghold that they have. Whenever it gets to that point, the movie kind of turns on its head and becomes a different threat altogether. And I like how it does that, not only for the sake of going for some different thematic elements that I've seen in a horror movie and in a zombie film, but it also keeps the pace of the movie going. You can only be on board with running from zombies for so long that you have to kind of switch up the threat and introduce some new elements throughout the runtime, and they do that well in 28 Days Later. I also like how brutal the virus itself is. Not only with the way that the zombies act, almost like they're just these rabid animals, and it's just rage-filled humans to where they're, they've got red eyes, they feel like they're bleeding out of every orifice, they're scratching and clawing and freaking out at you. And I like the fact that the virus is just so easy to get inside your system. Like most zombie films, it's just as simple as if you get bit. But I've always had the question of, well, what if their spit gets in you? What if something gets in your mouth? What if something gets into your ocular cavities? What if? And 28 Days Later goes for that. They go for the more grounded, scientific look of, look, any body fluid from those motherfuckers gets into your body fluids, you're done.
Did any of the blood get in your mouth? Mark?
Wait.
And I will say, this is a movie that was very hyped up as being a very scary film that actually, for the most part, lives up to that hype. There are some genuinely creepy, scary, and tension-filled sequences throughout 28 Days Later. The biggest one being the one where Jim goes into this church and he looks down and he sees just wall-to-wall bodies, just so much death and dismemberment across the floor. And he yells out like, hello, or something like that, and he goes in. And just the way that these two zombies come up from this pile and look at him is so fucking creepy to me, where they're just like,
Hello?
that shit gets to me. Every time I watch this movie, it unnerves me. I'm like, ooh, run, motherfucker, run. But on the negative side of this, I honestly only have one negative of 28 Days Later, because I think this is actually a damn good movie. And that's the way that they decided to shoot this movie in this kind of very guerrilla style with a very low quality film to give it that kind of gritty, realistic look. It does not age well at all. When I tried to watch this movie on my 4K television, even though I have the Blu-ray, 4K television makes this look like a VHS. Until you get to the very final act of the movie, like the epilogue basically, where they looks like they shot it with an actual modern camera. The rest of this movie, in the dark, in the gritty, grainy look that it has, it looks bad. I mean, it doesn't even really effectively give me this kind of gritty, grimy feel anymore like it used to pre-4K. Now it just looks like, God damn, this movie needs an update, and they're never going to be able to update it that much because of the equipment that they use. So that is a huge negative for this movie going through generations, is that the better technology gets, the worse this movie is going to look. But other than that, guys, this is one of my favorite zombie films. Now, I'm actually somebody that prefers 28 Weeks Later. I know that's kind of taboo, and I'm sure eventually I'll review that film, but 28 Days Later is a damn good film and a damn good zombie film. That's right, zombie film. Come on at me, haters. So if you're a film of the zombie genre and you like something new, you like something gritty, you like something that's a little bit more grounded, definitely pick up 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch. And check this movie out, because 28 Days Later is absolutely worth your money. Go out and buy it. So what do you guys think of 28 Days Later? Do you like this movie? Do you feel like it was a groundbreaking film in the zombie genre? Are you somebody that's getting pissed off every time I say the word zombie? And do you prefer 28 Weeks Later, or do you feel like that movie kind of lost what 28 Days was going for? Because that's what half the people out there at least seem to think. Put your thoughts down below on 28 Days Later, guys, and we will talk about it. And thank you so much, Greg Buzz, for your continued support. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'm glad you picked a movie that I'm actually excited to go at and decided to review like 28 Days Later. So good choice, my friend. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you guys want to check out some of my social media links down below. I've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my Spreadshirt store for Cody Leach t-shirts and other merchandise, and my Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel and help it grow while getting exclusive content for your eyes only, like the ability to choose a requested review like this one, and also the exclusive privilege of getting the Blu-ray digital copy codes that I buy every single week. I give those to my patrons as a way to give back. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.